University building. We're going to have a live report from Emory University in just seconds. That's where we start tonight on News Edge at 11. I'm Christine Spiro.
Multiple Metro Atlanta colleges today. The first was at UGA, where students held a walkout and a rally this afternoon. Like other schools, they're calling for their school to divest from Israel and for the school to reverse their suspension of students who protested earlier in the week. Police arrested more than 24 people during UGA protests on Monday.
And Kennesaw State University students also held a walkout today. The Party for Socialism and Liberation held protests at the KSU campus green, standing in solidarity with other protests at schools in Georgia and around the nation.
But once again, the largest demonstration at Emory University. That's where protesters staged what started as a walkout, but turned into something else later in the day. At one point, demonstrators blocked off a university admissions building. Governor Brian Kemp says swift action is needed for illegal protests.
When people start breaking the law, damaging personal property, and we are not going to allow other students, people on campus, or citizens to be disrupted by people that are breaking the law.
Some of those who've been arrested in the last 7 days have not been students, including Derek Zika, whom Emory police say carried knives and pepper spray.
Fox 5 cameras were there as those protesters grew this afternoon. Christopher King was one of many reporters who was there. He joins us live from Emory with the latest.
And Christopher, things appear to have calmed down, at least for now, there at Emory.
That's right, Tom and Christina. A quiet night, but a busy day. Pro-Palestinian demonstrators blocked off the admissions building late in the afternoon. Around the same time, pro-Israeli demonstrators held their own counter-protest.
Palestine will be free!
Pro-Palestinian demonstrators linked arms and formed a circle in the center of Emory's campus. Student protesters for the second week are demanding their university cut financial ties with Israel.
I support a free and independent Palestine.
Demonstrators also want an end to Israel's war with the militant group Hamas, a war that's claimed the lives of thousands of Palestinians and launched a humanitarian crisis in Gaza.
What I believe is happening is a tragedy.
The protests at Emory are part of a wave of pro-Palestinian demonstrations sweeping colleges and universities around the U.S. that have run the gamut from peaceful
Free the hostages!
to tense. Earlier in the day, protesters blocked the admissions building until police asked them to move.
Sticking together is really important through hard times.
On the other side of campus, a counter-protest supporting Israel. Megan Cox says Israel has the right to respond to the brutal Hamas attack that killed Israelis back in October.
I think Israel is just defending themselves.
Now, protesters have largely left the quad. There are a couple of people still out here. Now, if there are more protests, we will bring them to you as they happen. We're live at Emory. Christopher King, Fox 5 News.
All right, Christopher. Protesters started their own encampment inside a building before police arrested them. Hours before, police swept an encampment at Columbia University. That school's lawn is now clear of tents. The mayor of New York says that nearly 300 people were arrested during last night's protest at Columbia and City College of New York.
Meanwhile, in D.C., the House passed a bill today expanding the definition of anti-Semitism. That would allow the Department of Education to enforce anti-discrimination laws in response to campus protests. The bill uses the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance's definition of anti-Semitism, which is a certain perception of Jews which may be expressed as hatred toward Jews. Now the bill heads to the Senate. Of course, Fox 5 will continue to update you on air and online as we get new information about both protests at home and across the country. Make sure you have push notifications turned on so you don't miss any breaking updates.
New tonight, police are investigating after a 17-year-old was shot and killed in his southwest Atlanta home. Police were called to Judy Lane about 6:45 tonight and found the teen dead inside. Investigators say the teen, who's not been identified, was home alone at the time of the shooting. Right now, they're combing through evidence and speaking to family to learn more. Tonight, charges have been dropped against a Forsyth County man who was wrongfully accused of shoplifting from a local Walmart.
A call to Fox 5 helped clear their names in a case authorities say Walmart employees got wrong. News Edge reporter Joy Dukes is live tonight with the story. Joy, you spoke with that man and his son, who actually works for Walmart.
Yeah, Tom, Christine, that is exactly right. His son works at another Walmart location nearby. He tells me that is why he never would have imagined finding himself on the other end of a theft accusation. But that is exactly what happened when he and his father visited this Walmart over the weekend. It all started with an assumption.
There's a warrant for his arrest for shoplifting.
The assumption that surveillance video from this Walmart on Browns Bridge Road showed a father and son stealing from the store.
This is them loading them up.
Shopper Michael Cruz tells Fox 5 the video leaves out a few fundamental details.
The security guard had started the tape and started looking while we were at the sand, or while we were looking for a cart to get the sand. She didn't bother to go back an extra 2 minutes to see that we were actually in line at the cash register.
That portion of the video landed Cruz and his 18-year-old son, Parsa Sarobi, in jail for a night on theft by taking charges. The sheriff's office says it issued misdemeanor warrants based on the video Walmart provided.
When they put me in the handcuffs, I told them I said, I work at Walmart. Why would I steal from there?
Cruz says the sand was for a sandbox he was building for his 4-year-old son, who was with him at the time, and he had a receipt to prove it.
It just was $71, but the sand itself was $49.97. And there was not one doubt in my mind that we had done anything wrong. And
he says it wasn't until he reached out to Fox 5 and we reached out to the sheriff's office that they realized there had been a mistake.
A detective was immediately sent to Walmart that morning. I would say within minutes of the phone call. They reviewed the tapes. They determined that what happened was that we purchased the sand from the cashier.
The solicitor's office dropped the charges, expunged both their records, and reimbursed their bond. He says that mistake may have cost his son his future.
You're going to take out a warrant for somebody's arrest, and you've got to be 100% sure. You have to realize what this is doing to that person.
And I asked Walmart for comment, but they referred us back to the sheriff's office. The sheriff's office told Fox 5 that Walmart, quote, agreed they were wrong on the accusations. Now, they also told us that they are now making changes or considering some changes to the way that they respond to reports of theft at Walmart's. Cruz says that he is considering taking legal action tonight. That's the latest here in Forsyth County. Joy Dukes, Fox 5
Pretty
News.
messed up to be accused of something you didn't do, but looks like action will be taken to fix that. All right, thanks so much, Joy.
Campuses across the country with students opposing Israel's war with Hamas. The House is voting on the bipartisan Anti-Semitism Awareness Act. The legislation tells the Department of Education to enforce anti-discrimination laws and changes the definition of anti-Semitism to line up with the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance's definition. The American Civil Liberties Union opposes this bill, saying it could have a chilling effect on free speech and that discrimination protections are already in place. And the Biden administration announces more than $6 billion in student loan forgiveness affecting about 317,000 borrowers who went to the
Any student that was bribing should be removed from that list.
And borrowers into taking on a lot of debt with the promise of big salaries after they graduate. One example that the Department of Education found was that one of the Art Institute's campuses used Serena Williams' annual income to make it look like the average former student makes a lot more than they actually do. The administration says today's forgiveness announcement affects any student who attended an Art Institute's campus. In Washington, I'm David Abe for Newsnet.
Of anti-Semitism in a federal anti-discrimination law. It now goes to the Senate for a vote. House Democrat leaders say they have Speaker Mike Johnson's back if his GOP colleagues try to remove him as Speaker. Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene says she'll move forward with the attempt to oust him. NTD's Jeremy Sandberg has more on Johnson's support from Democrats and some reactions.
What the country needs right now is a functioning Congress.
House Speaker Mike Johnson said Tuesday it was the first he'd heard of Democratic leaders signaling they would help him keep his job.
you hope you have the support of everyone, the entire country. But like I said, I've got to do my job and continue to keep my head down. This is a very serious time for the country. We're not playing games here. The world is on fire.
Johnson has come under fire from some Republicans for his role in passing the $95 billion emergency spending bill this month. He says it's no time to be playing politics and engaging in chaos.
We need to be doing the job that the framers intended for Congress to play, and that's what I'm about. I'll continue to pursue that every day, and we'll keep the wheels of government functioning.
A small number of GOP members could oust Johnson as Speaker if Democrats voted with them. Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries and other Democratic leaders say after finishing work on the National Security Supplemental, they won't just let that happen.
None of the discussion that we had in caucus was about saving Mike Johnson. The underlying motion to vacate was not discussed. The motion to table was.
House Democratic Caucus Chair Pete Aguilar says leaders are not asking anyone to take a position opposed to their values.
Each member is going to vote their district and their conscience, guided by the Constitution.
Congressman Aguilar says many are leading to set aside any move by Green to take away Johnson's gavel.
We want to turn the page. We don't want to turn the clock back and let Marjorie Taylor Greene dictate the schedule and the calendar of what's ahead.
Congresswoman Greene filed a motion to vacate with the House clerk last month. The resolution would remove Johnson if approved by the House. The Congresswoman on X, saying Johnson should resign and switch parties. Greene wrote she wants transparency and Congress to go on the record to show where they stand.
Mike Johnson is not capable of that job. He has proven it over and over again.
Jeremy Sandberg, NTD News.
Coming up, the Federal Reserve